Bulletcast for life.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Bulletcast, the only sports and recreational podcast that is simply just too sweet. Thank you for the subscription, the stream, the viewing, the download, the listen. On the other line is the Canadian Destroyer, Brandon. How's it going there, guy?
Going great.
All right, but podcasting on the champions line, the reigning, defending one half of the Bulletcast champion. I am Philip Antoine, the Podfather. The other half of the title holder is Mitchell, and he is not on the line with us as usual.
Of course.
And this is the A team right here. This is the A tag team right here.
We're like Kofi Kingston and Big E.
I was thinking more like Evan Bourne and Kofi Kingston, the little air boom.
But then who's Mitchell?
You're right. You're okay. You know what? We're Bubba Ray and Devon. He's Spike.
I can deal with that.
There we go. All right, let's jump into this performance-enhancing audio. Not that much happening outside of the ring that I saw, but we're going to jump right into this. So, Vince McMahon versus Brock Lesnar. So apparently after the WrestleMania 34 main event, Vince McMahon was not happy with the amount of blood that was used. So, I don't know how it started, but an altercation happened between Vince and Brock. Reports are saying that Brock threw the Universal title at Vince. Reports are saying that Brock threw the Universal title at the wall. But yeah, they got into a heated conversation, and reports are also saying that Shane McMahon wanted to fight Brock Lesnar for getting into his father's face.
Well, I would love to see Shane McMahon try to fight Brock Lesnar. That would be an entertaining thing, because we all know Shane doesn't have the best punches in the world. So I don't know if he'd be able to stand toe-to-toe with Brock Lesnar, but yeah. Anyways, there's like the two parties involved. They're not going to speak out, and we're probably never going to really know exactly what happened unless like Shane or somebody who like was like deep in there really wants to like go and talk about it. But this is just, I wasn't surprised that something like this happened because Brock has an ego and will yell, and Vince is going to yell, and because it's not really clear what happened during the match, like when the finish was changed, if the blood was supposed to happen, if it wasn't supposed to happen. But I'm just like, Brock is a businessman. He shows up, he does what he's told for the most part. So I don't really know what's really going on. Like, why would he try to bloody Roman Reigns when nobody told him to do that? The thing that does make sense is the German announce table, which didn't look very pretty, and apparently that wasn't a authorized spot, and it didn't look very. It's like I think one of the announcers might have gotten hit by Roman or something like that. So I think that was another reason why Brock and Vince got into it.
All right. And now, so it was announced that Happy Rusev Day, ladies and gentlemen, he would be competing against The Undertaker in a casket match at the greatest Royal Rumble event of all time in Saudi Arabia, but that has quickly been changed to Chris Jericho.
That's it? That's all you're going to say? There's a lot more to the story than just them changing a match.
I wanted to get into like the card or whatever. What are your thoughts on Jericho versus Taker in a casket match? First of all,
it's fine. Jericho was already announced for the Royal Rumble match, but Rusev might be getting released. Rusev and Lana. Come on, Philip. You know there's a lot more than just who cares about this match? Honestly,
Rusev. He's been tweeting. Maybe Rusev Day can happen somewhere else. Maybe it's time for something new. He's been tweeting stuff like that, and so a release could be in the works for Alexander Rusev.
Well, apparently Rusev asked for his release last month when he wasn't happy with his WrestleMania spot. And if you remember when they did the whole Dolph Ziggler storyline where Lana was supposed to be with Ziggler, but then Rusev proposed, and then Lana posted it up on the Instagram, and then basically just threw kayfabe out the window. So this isn't the first time that Rusev and Lana have gotten into a spat with management. And Lana I mean, I don't want to put all the blame on Lana, but sometimes it feels like Lana she kind of just says what she wants because she doesn't really care. Which, props to her for not caring, expressing her opinion. Rusev does the same thing as well, but I think Rusev has a little more clout or credibility because at least he's a wrestler and he does stuff, and Lana just sits there and looks pretty. But, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they'll throw him a contract like they did Ziggles, or maybe they'll put him in a better spot. And, he could go to Raw in the Superstar Shakeup. I mean, we'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but I want to talk about the greatest Royal Rumble, the whole Saudi Arabia thing. Now this card, I mean, did they kind of bastardize WrestleMania to make this card pretty good? Because I'm looking at it. We got like
it'd be a lot better if there were women on it.
I mean, yeah, but we have like Taker and Y2J in a casket match. We have Cena and Hunter in a regular match. I mean, despite that happening for no reason, it's still gonna be a nice, decent match. We have the greatest Royal Rumble thing with Kurt Angle, Daniel Bryan's gonna be in it, so hopefully Daniel Bryan and Kurt get a little stare off.
Rey Mysterio's just been announced for the Royal Rumble too.
Yes, and then I think the main thing will be of course there's a triple threat ladder match for the IC title, and they threw Samoa Joe in there, so that's gonna be good. But I think Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar in the steel cage. Now, my thinking is they went with Brock to walk out of Mania with the championship, so that Roman could take it off of him in Saudi Arabia and get a big pop.
Whoa, I have not heard that idea before, Philip. That is mind blown.
Yeah. But then what do they do when Roman comes back to the States with the title? What? That's
exactly. That's why this whole thing is dumb. We talked about it coming out of the WrestleMania that I was so intrigued about what they were going to do. Did Vince McMahon blink? Was he like, you know what? We're not going to go with Roman. But no, it was just, we're not going to put it on him here because it's going to be a mess because people might be throwing stuff in the ring. People are going to boo him, heckle him. But it's all just to put him in front of 60,000 people who probably like him. One joke that I've heard is that Saudi Arabia should just make a law that it makes it illegal to boo Roman Reigns. So then maybe everyone's going to cheer him, and it's going to be this grand spectacle that everybody loves Roman.
I mean, we'll see. That will be happening in a few weeks. I think on April 27th. I believe that's a Friday. It's going to come on at 8 a.m.
So we're going to have to watch it, and we're going to do a timely review of it.
Of course. That's how we got to do it, man. All right. This day in wrestling history, All Japan and WWE present a wrestling summit in 1990. That's basically like if New Japan and WWE were to work today. Yeah. And then also ECW Barely Legal. ECW's first ever pay-per-view happened on this day in 1997.
Okay.
All right. Now let's talk about the Andre the Giant documentary that premiered on HBO this past Tuesday. Thoughts?
Just thoughts. That's it.
Thoughts? How did it make you feel? What did you think? Did you cry? Did you laugh?
I mean, the documentary was okay. I didn't really learn all that much about Andre the Giant. There was like some little anecdotes here and there that were kind of interesting, but for the most part, I wasn't like. It was fine for what it was. It was like an hour and a half of good storytelling. But if I'm watching a documentary, I want it to be like super in depth. I felt like they just kind of covered like the surface level of it. Like obviously, like stuff in The Princess Bride, I don't really know much about, so that was kind of interesting. I think the star of the documentary was Tim White. Like I didn't know that he and Andre were so close, and he was like his running buddy. And Tim White, he just like was telling these stories, and he was super emotional. And when he said that he wished he was there in the hotel room when Andre died, so he didn't die alone. Oh, the feels.
Yeah, that was very good. Tim White was the referee in the first ever Hell in a Cell match,
and he died about like 20 times during some like WWE.com shtick with Josh Matthews.
Yeah,
just you know.
But the Andre documentary, I enjoyed it. I always enjoy wrestling and documentaries and learning different things here and there. The Princess and the Bride stuff, yeah, I didn't know a whole lot about that. I'd seen the movie once years ago, so it was nice to see the cast and have them give their thoughts on Andre. The whole, he couldn't really catch the actress who played the bride, so they had to lower her down with wires.
Robin Wright from House of Cards. Shout out House of Cards, even though it's all going down the toilet because somebody.
Shout out Kevin Spacey. No,
don't shout him out. We don't like pedophiles on the show.
Oh God. Oh God.
Hot takes out here. We don't like pedophiles.
I mean, I would hope we don't like them on the show. But moving on, Robin Wright, yes. Andre could not catch her because, his body was really deteriorating from the giantism and all the other health issues that he had. And now, I mean, we learned other stuff, just like really on a personal level of Andre, of how it made him feel when people would make those comments, or he knew people would look at him, stuff like that. Because Hogan was a nice little focal point of the documentary. Hogan would talk about how he would be walking behind Andre and he would hear all the negative things that people would say about him, and it hurt his heart. And I felt bad for Andre, for a man to be literally larger than life, the biggest star in the business for a nice period of time, and for him to have to go through that it's heartbreaking. And then I thought that was really interesting because WrestleMania 3, we all know what happened. Probably one of the greatest WrestleManias of all time. It actually is one of the greatest WrestleManias of all time. So Hogan tells the story of how he goes. He sits down with Andre, and they map out the match that they have in the Pontiac. What was it, the Silverdome?
Yeah.
Yeah. They map it out word for word, every single thing that's going to happen, and then they don't have a finish. And Hogan's like, "What's the finish?" And Andre just kind of shoves them off, like, yeah. So then they.
Hogan, hold on, that's not exactly what happened. Hulk and Vince were together, and he wrote it down. And then Vince took it to Andre, and then it was the next day, and Hogan kept trying to ask Andre, "What are we doing for a finish?" and blah blah blah. And then Andre kept pushing him away.
Yeah, Hogan, he was worried that Andre wouldn't do business, and Vince was like, yeah, he'll do it. You'll be fine, because they literally didn't have a finish. And then they show the footage of the match, and then Hogan talks about how Andre started calling spots to him and telling him do the big boot and the body slam, and then hit the leg drop and cover him and all that. So I thought that was really interesting for the match. One of probably the most famous wrestling matches in history. Literally didn't have a finish up until its last few moments. I thought that was interesting. David Shoemaker did a really nice job with this. He's one of Peter Rosenberg's buddies. I first got introduced to him on the Cheap Heat podcast, and he did a really great job with this. I really enjoyed it. Vince
Dave Meltzer was better. We all know that.
God, don't get me started with that guy. All right, seeing Vince, get a little emotional about Andre, I thought that was cool. Shane was in it for a nice little snippet. But I enjoyed the documentary. It was nice. It was very nice. And then when the date pops up, the day he died, I'm like, oh man, this is really sad. It hit me in the feels. I think this is my feel spot of the week.
Oh, okay. We're just making up segments now.
We should have a feel spot of the week. Just throwing that out there. But yeah, I encourage anybody to go watch the Andre the Giant documentary. It's nice, and then go watch some Andre stuff. He did tours of Japan. He was obviously in the WWF, and just go watch his work and see how it evolved over the course of his however many year-long career.
Ric Flair was in the documentary, and he didn't really contribute anything to it, except for talking about how big Andre's thing might be, because he has big fingers and big feet and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think they just kind of got Ric Flair to get him, and I mean, we don't really associate Ric Flair with Andre, so I mean, maybe they did some tag matches and stuff like that, but really, it's Hulk Hogan is who you think of when you think of Andre.
Yeah.
Well, Ric Flair was fun. He was funny.
Shut up, Ric Flair. Woo! All right, Monday Night Raw, the Raw after WrestleMania. Let's recap it. So Ronda gets a little rowdy. Stephanie McMahon comes out to the ring in a sling. She tries to, praise Ronda, congratulate her. Ronda comes out and puts her in another armbar.
It was a fun segment. It was nice. I hope this means it's the end of the Stephanie. Well, not the end of the Stephanie Ronda feud in terms of like them going at each other. But I'm hoping like Stephanie doesn't have another match with Ronda. But maybe Stephanie is kind of like the Bobby Heenan to Ronda Rousey, where she just grabs all these different women and just throws them at Ronda, and Ronda just bats them away, and ultimately leading to the Charlotte match. That I think at WrestleMania, it was whoever won that match is gonna face off against Ronda next year at WrestleMania. And I think since Charlotte won, I think they're on the way to Charlotte versus Ronda for a really big match down the line.
Yes. All right, well, after that, Nia Jax, she makes her way to the ring as the new Raw Women's Champion. And she's set for a tag team match with her and a partner of her choosing against Alexa Bliss and Mickie James. And her partner is none other than the former NXT Women's Champion, Ember Moon.
Yeah, that was a nice debut. A lot of debuts and returns on this show. Nia Jax got a surprisingly really big pop, and I think that's a sign of things to come, because I think Nia Jax, even though she's really big, and sometimes having big baby faces doesn't really work out, especially with the women who are so much smaller than her, but I think Nia Jax can be a really good lead female baby face for Raw, just because she's nice, and when she was a heel, everyone knew she was so nice because she was on social media basically just being a nice person and not really trying to keep kayfabe up, but we all know Nia Jax is a sweet girl, and that's what she is. And Ember Moon, I have big hopes for Ember Moon. I really like her as a character, and I mean, we're just have to see where she goes from here.
Yes. All right. Strowman and his tag partner, whatever that kid's name was,
Nicholas.
Yeah. They relinquished the tag team titles. What the hell was the point then?
It was just a moment, a WrestleMania moment.
I would have rather had Strowman, no partner at all, just in the tag titles by himself.
Well, I mean, that's basically what happened.
Not really,
I mean, come on, you gotta admit, it was kind of funny when Nicholas was behind Strowman, and he was like, he was here the whole time, and then Nicholas said the catchphrase. Come on, don't hate on the boy. He's the youngest WWE champion of all time.
No. Look,
yes, he is.
I have to deal with David Arquette as being a former world champion. I don't need some little kid to have a title record in the business. All right.
Well, too late. He's already in the books.
Look, it was stupid and made no sense. But then Angle announces, a little tag team championship tournament. Winner of the little tournament faces the Bar at the greatest Royal Rumble of all time for the Raw tag titles. All right, then after that, No Way Jose defeats John Skyler. No Way Jose makes his debut on the main roster. I don't care.
He had the conga line, so it seems like he's kind of Adam Rose.
So
go ahead.
So conga line, it just starts in the back. There's just a conga line all backstage. Why isn't the conga line going through the crowd?
What?
I mean, conga lines, they don't just happen backstage at a business. Now, in a crowd, in an audience environment, sure, a conga line can probably start. Why don't we start it out in the crowd?
I'm just going to ignore that. Anyways, No Way Jose. I think he's probably destined to be a low-card Adam Rose, Brodus Clay type character. But if they really wanted to, I think down the line, once this whole thing plays out, I think he could turn heel and maybe not be a main eventer, but I think he can be a strong mid-card heel. Maybe eventually one day reach the top of the card, but I think with this type of gimmick, what he's saddled with, it's going to take him down a peg or two. And no one will say he's a good wrestler. He's good size. He's a decent wrestler.
I don't want to look at him. I'm done. His finisher's stupid, by the way. A pop-up punch to the face. Come on now.
Oh, when Big Show did it, it's okay.
Well, yeah, that's the Big Show. Look at the size of his hand. It makes sense.
No way, Jose's like 6'6", 6'8". He's a big dude.
Okay, but look, the Big Show's hand, I believe it's literally going to knock me out. No way, Jose, throwing a guy up in the air and then punching him in the face. I don't see that knocking somebody out.
Okay, well, wrestling's so fake. If anybody hits somebody square in the jaw, it's probably going to knock them out. I mean, if Alexa Bliss took a shot at Nia Jax square in the jaw, she could have knocked Nia Jax out. Any man with two hands has a fighting chance. Remember that.
Don't start that here. Look, no way, Jose. I just don't like him. I never liked him in NXT. You want to get a party guy? Sign my boy Dalton Castle. Let's get the party peacock if you.
No. Dalton Castle is not. He is too good to be doing no damn conga line.
I didn't say he needs to do a conga line.
Well, I mean, if you say getting a party started, that's just destined for him to be like down in the low card, doing dancing mamas shtick like Brodus Clay and Shelton Benjamin. We want Dalton Castle to be top of the card material, which what he is. People who don't see Dalton Castle, they see him for the first time, they're like, oh, he's gay. That's his gimmick. But no, he's more than that. When he gets down to business, he's a damn good wrestler. And when we see him the match against Marty Scurll, which I saw, when apparently you didn't see because all you wanted to do was watch Kenny versus Cody. But it was a good match. Show was way too long. But anyways, Dalton Castle. He'll be in WWE in the next couple years.
All right, well, after all of that, the Revival go on to defeat the Good Brothers, advancing in the tournament of sorts. Thoughts, comments?
Man, I didn't really care for this match. This match was like 3 minutes. You can't really have a good tag match in 3 minutes.
Wow. All right, well, Seth freaking Rollins, he makes his way to Monday Night Rollins as the Intercontinental Champion. Says that he finally caught up with Dean and Roman. He's a Grand Slam. Finn Balor comes out there saying, hey, I didn't get pinned. I'm going to get a shot. Miz and the whole Miz Taraj come out there. They spew insults and arguments back and forth. But the best thing of the segment, my boy Jeff Hardy, the charismatic Enigma, returns to kind of even up the odds. And that sets up a six-man tag with Hardy, Balor, and Rollins versus the Miz Taraj later on in the show.
Yeah, Jeff Hardy returning was a nice little surprise. I don't know if I would have this. I mean, we get into it a little later, but I don't know if I would have had that six-man tag in the show. It was just kind of like, okay, we're going to have a nice little match, but nothing special is going to happen to, like, cap off this WrestleMania week to make it, like, super memorable. If it was me, I might have had, like, Roman Reigns and the show just for it, but I think this whole Miz Taraj thing, it's okay. It was fine.
All right. So then after that, Mandy Rose goes on to defeat Sasha Banks.
Yeah, still building up the Sasha Bayley feud. Eventually, they'll have a blow-off match. And somebody will be a heel and somebody will be a babyface. One of these days, we'll figure it out.
Yes. Well, after that, Paige, she takes the mic, gets in the ring, and she announces that she officially retires. Because she suffered that injury months ago, and we weren't really sure, like, what was going to happen. And she said that, she couldn't wrestle for the time being, but she officially retires, and she wants to thank people like Daniel Bryan for giving her hope and stuff like that. It's hard to believe that she was, like, only on the main roster for, like, 4 years, but then one of those years, like, she wasn't even in the company. So for about maybe 2.5 years, she did a lot.
I mean, she's only 25. She's really young, and for this to happen to her is sad. The retirement announcement wasn't, like, as shocking and as, like, tearful as Daniel Bryan's thing, just because we've known about this for a couple months now. She hasn't wrestled like since August, or I don't know, but it's been a long time. So when she announced it, it was sad, but it was like, we kind of already know this, but it was fun to let her have her moment, especially since it's in the same place where she debuted.
Yes, exactly. It all comes full circle. All right, and then my boy my boy, the Destroyer, Bobby Lashley, makes his return to WWE, dismantling Elias.
This was fun. We expected Bobby Lashley to return eventually. He's not doing MMA anymore. He's just doing wrestling. And if you haven't seen Bobby Lashley since his run in WWE 10 years ago, you need to go back and watch TNA and watch some of his stuff. Because honestly, he's improved greatly. He's really good. He's found his character. He's kind of like he's basically like a Brock Lesnar light, but he can actually talk. Brock Lesnar can talk too, but when you have Paul Heyman, you don't need to talk. But Bobby Lashley's a full character. He came in as a babyface. Don't know exactly what he's going to do. He's going to turn heel, because when you return after so long, you're going to get that huge pop, and you probably have to come back as a babyface unless you do something super dastardly to somebody that they all love. But I'm excited to see what Bobby Lashley does.
How about he attacks Roman the Raw after the Greatest Royal Rumble? There we go.
Well, they already have Samoa Joe and Roman Reigns set up.
You're right.
Maybe we get a Brock Lesnar versus Lashley.
Hey, I'd love to see it. I'd love to see that. All right. So then after that, Cammy looks for a job. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, they go to Kurt Angle's office, and they ask him for a job, and Angle was like, no, you got fired from SmackDown, you lost your match, and you were attacking your bosses over there. And then Kurt Angle had the line of the night, probably the line of the past couple of days. I hear TNA's hiring. That was funny.
Well, technically they're not TNA anymore. They're Impact Wrestling. So I don't know who TNA is.
But, I mean, we all get what he was talking about. It was funny.
It was funny. I actually watched Impact yesterday. Not a bad show. It was tolerable. It was not that bad. Moose and Sami Callihan had a really good match. I thought it was fun. But anyways, back to this. The segment itself, it was fun. Kevin Owens kind of being a heel to his friends, being like, I have a family, but I actually have kids and stuff like that. Going back to the NXT days where he was doing everything for the kids. But
gotta do it for the children.
Yeah, Kevin Owens loved kids, and the match itself, we can get into that later.
All right, the AOP, baby! They got called up. My boys.
They did get called up.
The Authors of Pain, they show up with Paul Ellering, WWE Hall of Famer, managed the Legion of Doom. And then after the AOP, after their match is over, who did they defeat? Slater and Rhino?
Yeah.
Yes. After that, they tell Paul Ellering to stay, and they just walk to the back. These boys not loyal.
Well, I think it's more like, well, obviously it's because Paul Ellering doesn't want to travel. He doesn't want to, go, even just doing the TV every week. That's a lot. And he's done his work in NXT. I don't know exactly how Akam and Razor are going to do on the mic, because honestly, I haven't really seen them cut a promo really. So I think having them on Raw makes sense, just because they're kind of like the Bludgeon Brothers, two big guys who aren't going to talk a lot, so you have to keep them separate on separate shows. I mean, the debut itself, like all the debuts on there, the debuts and the returns aren't really shocking. Probably the most shocking one was No Way Jose, just because he hasn't been doing anything. They just called him up to do it. But I mean, AOP, the tag division on Raw is not very good at this point, so I don't know. I mean, I think they're eventually going to get the tag titles. They're probably going to beat whoever wins the tournament at Royal Rumble, but
Yes. All right. Well, then
I think eventually they'll get broken up and they'll be singles people, just because they're big dudes.
Yes, big boys. Well, the big dog makes his way to the ring. Talks about what happened at WrestleMania. Talks about how we can't even really remember some stuff. But then my boy Samoa Joe makes his return and eviscerates Roman Reigns on the microphone.
I mean, you're just going to ignore all the stuff Roman Reigns was saying. We were on the edge of our seats waiting to see what Roman was going to say. Is he going to turn heel? What's he going to do? But he just threw a temper tantrum and said that nobody smartened him up, whatever that means. If that means, first of all, kayfabe Roman, but does that mean, no one told him that Brock Lesnar re-signed? Nobody told him that Brock Lesnar was going to go over. And then he complains that he's getting another title match after he lost. He wasn't even a champion going in, and he lost, which I do not know what Vince is doing with Roman at this point. Like, how does he think this is going to get him over by complaining?
Look, it just didn't work. The whole year long. Actually, we can even go back like 3 years. Roman got pushed too quick, so they had Seth as the safety net or whatever. They tried to put the title on him before, didn't work. They put it on him again, really didn't work. They put him on him a third time, didn't work. He had some nice matches with AJ. They tried to go the singles title route, the U.S. title. It wasn't really doing anything. They reunite the Shield, put the IC strap on him. All right, cool. We got some cheers. And then, the whole Shield thing just kind of fell apart. And then, the boos started happening. And then he'd cut those shoot work promos, go in the back and confront Vince. A pop or a cheer here and there. But look, it just didn't work, Is Vince going to realize it? I don't know. Is the greatest Royal Rumble Vince's last attempt at getting Roman over? I don't know. I mean, we all know what is going to get Roman Reigns over. It's to turn heel. I mean, it works literally almost all the time. I mean, his cousin, The Rock, is the best example. Came in as Rocky Maivia, kind of like a dork. He turned heel, joined the NOD, and became one of the greatest superstars of all time. The heel turns, they do work. All right, I don't know if Vince is ever gonna really pull the trigger. He didn't do it with John. Will he do it with Roman? I don't know. I really don't.
Yeah, I mean, Vince. It kind of seems like Vince thinks like the WrestleMania crowd aren't real fans. Like their opinion doesn't count, even though they're the fans. They're the fans who pay the most money to go and see the shows. They go to Raws. They go to the pay-per-views. They travel like from around the world to come here. But yet, the only people's opinions that matter are the ones who spend the least amount of money, if at all. They just watch the TV shows, maybe go, buy some house show tickets, and they're the ones who are cheering Roman. I don't know exactly the breakdown. Like, maybe it is a majority, like maybe like 60-40 in terms of like in total people, but like the best baby faces in the world get at least like a 95% positive reaction, if not 100%. Like back in the day, Hulk Hogan had his haters, like, the Ric Flair people, but the business was doing so strong and everybody loved him for the most part that they just went with Hogan, even though he wasn't that great in the ring, but he had a connection with the crowd, and that's what Roman doesn't have. He doesn't have a connection with the crowd, and doing promos like this where he's complaining about getting another title shot, saying like, eventually I'll beat him. You keep handing me opportunities, and eventually I'll beat him. That's not really a babyface line. And then Brock, the whole thing with the Raw after WrestleMania is like they said, this is going to be Bizarro World. It's going to be a kooky crowd. They cheer people they normally boo and boo people they normally cheer. But on Raw, SmackDown's a different story. But on Raw, everybody was getting the appropriate reactions except for two people, Roman Reigns and the person opposite of Roman Reigns, Samoa Joe. That should tell you something, that this Bizarro World, like everybody else on the company is in the right slot, except for Roman Reigns. Like everybody was booing the Miz, cheering Seth and Finn, but yet when it comes to Roman, people just reject him. And like it's been 3-4 years at this point, and Vince still doesn't get it. It's just, oh my god.
Yeah. Well, the whole Joe thing. Joe, really just airs it all out for Roman. He says like, you can't get the job done. You keep getting opportunity after opportunity, and you keep failing. So then he says, when Brock, beats you down again, I'll be waiting for you at Backlash. So
what happens when Roman Reigns wins? Does this turn into a title match?
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
That's just how you have to do it. And side note, if they were to ever put the Universal title on my boy Samoa Joe, the Authors of Pain and Joe as a cohesive unit, now that's nice. I put that picture on our I think Twitter and Instagram, and it of them in their NXT days, and it looked nice.
But they're not a faction. It's only 3 of them. They need another one, so it can be a faction, not just a group.
I mean, they could be a group, with those three hosses,
I don't think Samoa Joe needs them.
Very true. We'll see. All right, the Woken Warriors, Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt, go on to defeat Titus Worldwide.
Good for Bray and Matt. I really like what they're doing with them. Bray Wyatt kind of just being a babyface, just being not like crazy like Matt Hardy is, but he's able to kind of go in a different direction. I think the crowd's going to accept him because for the most part, everybody really likes Bray. And then now that he's a babyface, hopefully this means he gets to win some matches.
Oh yes, that's important. All right, and then we move on to Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn, ends in a no contest. What happens? What happens now?
I mean, they didn't show up on SmackDown. I don't know. I mean, the match itself was good. I don't know exactly what they're going to go from here. Hopefully we get a El Generico return and like El Gordo or something like that. But Kevin Steen merchandise is on sale at ProWrestlingTees.com. So good.
Yeah.
Shout out to Kevin Steen for making that money.
Yeah. I mean, I know Impact, like, they tape their shows way in advance, but it would be cool if, like, we saw, like, Owens and Zayn make, like, have a one-off match in Impact to kind of play off of the whole Kurt Angle TNA comment or whatever. But, of course, stuff like that doesn't...
I don't see that happening, but we do know that WWE... Who's calling?
I don't know.
I know WWE has a relationship with Evolve, so... Maybe they show up at Evolve doing something like that. I don't expect them to, but I think, for the Superstar shakeup, it wouldn't really make sense for them to get traded to Raw when they just had an opportunity and then Kurt Angle said, we only have one spot open, but then both of them are on there. So, they might have booked themselves into a corner here where they have to do like the masked El Generico gimmick, but I'm interested to see where they go. Because I hope they do something different than just them showing up and they get a job and we, don't ask any questions. They're here. Be happy.
Yes. All right. Jeff Hardy, Finn Balor, and the Intercontinental Champion Seth Rollins go on to defeat the Miz Taraj.
Yeah, I already kind of said it. Like, the match itself was okay. It was fun to see Jeff Hardy come back. The crowd wasn't like super crazy like sometimes they are at the end of the Raw where it's just like a regular. Like when I was there at WrestleMania 31, it was a 6-man tag and just like we completely took over, and that's like when the wave started and stuff like that. This crowd, they were into the match. They were kind of probably really tired at this point watching so much wrestling by whatever, WrestleMania week now starts like on a Wednesday or a Thursday. But it was fine. I thought it was kind of a flat ending to the Rock or WrestleMania, but I think they're just kind of taking a deep breath and like say next week, Superstar Shakeup's coming, so we're going to keep the ball moving.
Yeah, you got to keep that ball moving. You got to. But at the end of the match, they did kind of like a house show thing, and they had a finisher party.
And after TV, they like invited beach balls to come out, and they started playing with the beach balls in the ring.
Yeah, you know what? Those fans and those beach balls, they really do get on my nerves.
Yeah, I do not like the beach balls. I think it takes away from the show.
Yeah.
It's one thing to like chant stuff because at least you can like watch it while you're chanting. But when you're doing the beach ball, you're not even paying attention to the show. You're paying attention to a piece of plastic.
Yeah, and that's another thing that kind of hurt the main event of Brock and Roman. But that's a topic for another time. All right, let's get into the SmackDown recap. So it looks like Daniel Bryan is going to be a full-time guy, so I guess he stepped down from the general manager position, and we have a new SmackDown Live general manager, and it's her house. Paige is the new general manager for SmackDown Live.
I like this move. I thought Paige, I think the sad part with Paige when she did the retirement is I was thinking, like, man, is she, like, done with wrestling? She's not going to be in the WWE anymore? Because I think she can be a really good manager. She can be a good commentator. I think because she's a really good talker. She carries herself well, which was evident in this promo. And I think it's a good move for her, having a nice, strong, babyface GM differentiating from what Stephanie's doing over on Raw. So, I think it's a good move. We're going to have to see what happens because hopefully she doesn't turn heel, but we all know eventually she's probably going to turn heel.
I like it. I enjoyed it. it's a good stuff. You know, we've had female general managers in the past with, you know, Vicky Guerrero and AJ Lee. So this was a nice move. All right, the Usos go on to defeat the New Day, and to get another shot at the Bludgeon Brothers in the SmackDown Live tag team titles.
Yeah, I mean, another match from these two. I don't see the script, so I don't know if we're going to go over Superstar Shakeup after we do the recaps or anything like that. But I think,
yeah, we'll get into that.
I think New Day might be going over to Raw. I think after this week, I think there are some moves that are clear just because of how the matches turned out and differentiating things. I think this match is one of them.
Yes, it was. It was very. I mean, it was good. You know, Xavier Woods showing his strength. You know, hoisting Big E on his shoulders. You know, using that neck strength. Big E doing the suicide spear dive, which was always interesting. I mean, it was a good showing from these guys. All right. Moving on from that, Naomi goes on to defeat Natalya.
Nobody got hurt. That's always a plus with Naomi matches.
I mean, did she do those kicks? I can't remember.
I'll be honest, I did not watch the match. I just fast forwarded through it.
Oh, why didn't you watch the match?
I watched the backstage promo when it was cringy and bad acting, as you would expect from these two.
Yeah, well, you know, speaking of backstage promos, let's talk about the newly turned heel Shinsuke Nakamura. How'd you feel about that one?
The promo was, I think it was entertaining, which for heels, you don't really want it to be entertaining because the line where he doesn't speak English got a nice pop. But I'm kind of hesitant to see what they do with the Nakamura character because Nakamura is showing, you know, shout out Becky Lynch, just straight fire. He's like he's a different act right now. He's showing a lot of intensity, but then also like that's what got him over in New Japan and like NXT is like him just being balls to the wall crazy. And I mean, he's gonna have to do dastardly things like what he did later on in the show to get him booed. But I think he's gonna be one of those heels where he's gonna get cheered when he's against bad baby faces, but when he's up against good baby faces like AJ and Daniel, he'll get booed. I think it's a nice step because Shinsuke he can speak English. He's not as bad as Asuka. He can cut short, succinct promos. And with a heel, I mean, I guess it's better to be a heel than a babyface when he can't even speak that well English. I mean,
true.
I don't know. But because he can just let his actions speak and just like do bad things, interfere, and you know kick people in the head and stuff like that. Or what he likes to do is low blow people. Apparently, that's going to be his gimmick now.
Yeah, I mean, like he has all these badass, you know, strikes or whatever, the MMA strikes that he can use, but he's just gonna low blow people, just gonna hit him in the balls.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing with Nakamura is like he's so charismatic and he's so good in the ring. We haven't seen him be fantastic in the ring, but if he's just showing the fire that he's showing right now, I'm sort of afraid that he's going to be turned babyface or the crowd's going to cheer him just because of how entertaining he is. So I think right now, as he's what the hell? What's going on over there? I think as long as there's like some rustling in the background or something, you hit the microphone or something like, you know, I like to strive for the best audio quality possible. But anyways, moving right along.
All right, moving right along. The iconic duo, or the Iconics, which is, yeah, that name's something within itself. They get called up, and they beat down the Queen. Thoughts on that one?
The promo was, once again, it was entertaining, but it was just like the crowd was cheering them, and this was like the Bizarro World reaction that they wanted, that WWE warned us about, because the Iconics come out and they just tear down Charlotte, and it was funny, and then they beat her down. It was fine. Charlotte kept a good babyface promo to begin with before she gets interrupted, but I think after what happened tonight, I think maybe Charlotte gets moved over to Raw, and this is how we get the starting point for this Charlotte Ronda Rousey build.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have a new SmackDown Live Women's Champion, and she is Fabulous. Carmella has a successful cash in. You know, she dethrones the Queen. She's the champion now.
I mean, I don't really like Carmella as champion. She's not credible, which goes towards how she won it with
Not
the Money in the
credible.
Bank. Really,
We've had worse.
Once again, just because we've had worse in the past, I like to think in the present and like to build towards the future. So I'm hoping we didn't see Asuka on either Raw or SmackDown. Hopefully this means Asuka gets moved over to SmackDown. She makes quick work of Carmella, and she can move on with the championship, but she still has a loss, so you can kind of, because when you're undefeated, you kind of have to always win, obviously. So when she's a champion and she has that loss on the record, she can get screwed over and she can lose, and, you know, the Iconics can distract her and stuff like that. It might make her weaker, but it kind of, you know, you're able to tell more stories that way.
Yeah, I mean, with the whole thing with Carmella, going back to that, you know, is she the best in-ring performer? No. You know, I mean, she's certainly damn sure better than Lana. But, I mean, you know...
I mean, come on. That's a low bar. I mean, I think that... I know I hate on Naomi, but I think Naomi's better than Carmella.
Well, yeah, obviously. But, I mean, I'm looking at it like the Money in the Bank contract, you know, it's a heel thing to do. You cash in at any point in time when the champion is not at their best. That is exactly what she did. Now, could you see her defeating Charlotte when Charlotte's 100% one-on-one? Absolutely not. I don't see that. So then thank God for the Money in the Bank and for that to go down. Now, I mean, the referee, people had mixed emotions about the way the referee was doing it. On one side, they're saying, all right, Carmella, you failed this cash-in before. Are you sure? Or you failed the attempt? Are you sure you really want to do this?
That's not how the referee was looking. Kyoto looked like he's never seen a Money in the Bank cash in his life, even though he's like the longest tenured person in the company, and like he hasn't done one of these before.
Yeah, I've been working there since '89. And then others were like, hey, it's the Money in the Bank contract. It doesn't matter if they're ready to go or not. The idea is you're supposed to just cash it in and be able to pin the person, you know? So, I mean, there were mixed emotions about that in the wrestling world, but, you know, I'm fine with Carmella as champion. I'm fine with it, you know?
I think it's a short reign. I hope Asuka just destroys her at Backlash.
Jesus, God, man.
I mean, I think they kind of wanted her to win just because it's the first women's Money in the Bank, and I don't know if they... I mean, I don't know what they think of when it comes to the women and trying to be equal and all that stuff and having... Because I think they wanted to have the first ever cash and be successful, and having it be unsuccessful, I don't know if that would make it some sort of controversy or something. I wouldn't think of it as that, but, you know, some people like to make stories out of nothing.
Yeah, I know a lot of those people. All right, after all of that, Randy Orton goes on to defeat Rusev and the Glorious Bobby Roode to earn another shot at Jinder Mahal and the United States title. So, you know, last year they feuded for the world title. Now they're feuding for the championship of our country.
What did we do to deserve another Jinder Mahal versus Randy Orton match?
It's you know it's there. Maybe this is what turns Roode heel. You know, he interferes in the match to get a no contest or something at Backlash. Not attacks or not. I don't know. We'll see.
Anyways,
yeah. All right, moving on from that. The main event. The main event was Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles. The dream match. You know, these guys haven't wrestled each other in, I think, well over a decade, you know? And I was like, why are they giving this away to us on free TV? But then, I mean, overall, the match before the interruption, it was good. I enjoyed it, you know? Daniel, he was moving around different. It was just weird to, like, see these two guys, these two great competitors, like, especially since Daniel's been retired or whatever and injured, like, to see this happening on SmackDown for free right now. I'm like, what's going on? What time are we living in? It was awesome. But Shinsuke Nakamura, you know, with the Kinshasa, the knee to the back of Daniel's head to interrupt the match.
Okay, I thought you were going to say more there. But anyway, I think this made sense because I think seeing this match, like when Paige announced it, I was like, why are they just giving this away on free TV with like no build? But then afterwards, with the Superstar Shakeup coming, I think Daniel Bryan is going to Raw just because it makes no sense to have Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles on the same show, especially as being a 2-hour show. They're kind of the same person. And it puts heat on Nakamura because this was a dream match. And I thought they were going somewhere pretty good. Obviously, it was nothing special, but I thought it was a good little TV match that was going on for like 10 plus minutes. And then Nakamura comes out and attacks both of them. It puts heat on Nakamura. So overall, I like the end segment. And yeah, I liked it.
All right. Superstar Spotlight. Who do we got? Who's your Superstar Spotlight?
My Superstar Spotlight. I'd have to go with Samoa Joe. I really liked Samoa Joe's promo, even though it was a total babyface promo when I think it was supposed to be a heel promo. But I'm excited to see Samoa Joe back. Hopefully he does something with Roman. Maybe he wins. Maybe Samoa Joe's new champion, but I'm not getting my hopes up.
God, man, why you got to take my Superstar Spotlight?
Well, I don't know. I can't really think of anything else.
I mean, mine was Samoa Joe also, great.
Fine, you know what? I'll go Matt Riddle again for like the second week in a row because Matt Riddle had like 1,000 matches over the last week.
Matt Riddle. No, but Samoa Joe, it was a very good promo. I enjoyed it. I can't wait to see what they do with Joe and Roman moving forward. All right, let's talk some Superstar Shakeup. So, who do we think's going where?
I mean, I already kind of said the big moves. I think Charlotte and Daniel Bryan are probably going to go over to Raw. And I actually did explain this on Raw that the Superstar Shakeup, the GMs sit together and they work out trades, which is like something that you could have just done last year, but they didn't do it. So they just made it seem like people just show up randomly and stuff like that. But I don't know if maybe Finn goes over to SmackDown because I would think, they've done everything with, I think Finn's probably a good fit over there. I don't know if I think eventually he probably could turn heel because Finn and AJ both being babyfaces. I think you can kind of play up the Bullet Club thing and then being partners and then eventually Finn turns on AJ. But, on the women's side, if you're going to do a straight up trade for Charlotte, I think Sasha or Bayley. I don't know. Maybe Sasha. But then you have like the dual branded thing, so you can always kind of do that. I don't know. I don't have the whole roster in front of me.
Yeah. Well, I'd go Finn over to SmackDown. I think that'd be interesting. Probably throw Gallows and Anderson over there with them if they were looking to really run the whole Bullet Club, Balor Club thing going. And then one popped in my head: Braun Strowman. I think that'd be interesting. The big man on the blue brand. Because I'm really trying to think of all the single stars over there. They have AJ, which would be an interesting dynamic. They have a babyface Braun against a heel Nakamura. I think that'd be something interesting to watch. And then of course, for the women's side, I would put Charlotte on Raw. And then I'm trying to think from the women's side, who goes where. Sasha, she hasn't wrestled on SmackDown in a very long time. Maybe throw her over there. But then she has that thing with Bayley.
I would, I think Alexa Bliss is going to go over to SmackDown because she did kind of get beat handily over on Raw. I think Alexa Bliss going over there, maybe eventually turning babyface, can be a nice little thing over on SmackDown.
That could. She become like a 4-time women's champion, winning that SmackDown women's title again. So is that all for the Superstar Shakeup?
Yeah, I don't know exactly how many trades and stuff's going to happen if there's a set limit. Are there going to be, are there still going to be more NXT call-ups? You never know.
I'd like Jeff Hardy to go over to SmackDown.
I can't see that, but I think right now, with AJ being the champion, I think you need to load up more heels for AJ to be, because right now there's Nakamura, and then there's a drop off after that. You have Baron Corbin. Maybe they eventually turn Bobby Roode heel, but what kind of heels do they have on SmackDown besides Shinsuke?
Or you move Miz over to SmackDown. I don't know, but Like, I think they need big single stars, you know? Throw Jeff over there, throw Finn over there, you know? Because, like, that way Jeff can be doing his own thing. You know, he said that he wants to be WWE champion again, and then that way Matt and Bray can do their own thing on Raw with that whole Woken, whatever that is. And, you know, Jeff could get into the singles groove again.
I mean, I think they want Daniel and Miz to be like a feud going into SummerSlam. So I think Miz and Daniel are going to be on the same brand.
Oh, cool.
So, I mean, maybe Daniel stays on SmackDown, but I don't really see that happening just because of what they did with AJ and Daniel Bryan. You know, having a match and then, you know, having nothing. But I mean, it would make sense for Daniel to stay on SmackDown because Shane, you know, they have the bond on SmackDown, so Shane and them wouldn't want to give Bryan over so easily unless they get like a haul for him, which could be a storyline where like they give up, you know, Raw gives up 2 people for Daniel Bryan. But I mean, WWE is not really in the sports storyline, so I don't know if they really want to get into this specific trades.
I don't know. I mean, maybe they do like a .com or YouTube exclusive where they break down or they show footage of like the trades happening. You know, I mean,
yeah, like I would love to see like an hour special of just like both of them like or both sides like in the war room just like debating and like going back and forth on trades and who should go with what. Like obviously you know what trades you're gonna make, but you just kind of fill in the gaps of how you do it.
Yeah, it could air like Tuesday for SmackDown on like the network or something. I don't know. That'd be something nice to see.
Mhm.
All right. Well, Brandon, what's your promo pick of the week, buddy?
So my promo pick of the week, as I stated earlier, Bobby Lashley has much improved since his last stint over in WWE. So one promo, all you can do is just type in Bobby Lashley TNA promo. This is the second thing that pops up, and it's from Impact July 6, 2017. Alberto El Patron, which we didn't really get into, has been fired from Impact. But anyway, at the time he was the Impact champion, and he was having a Mexican celebration with his brother and his dad. And then Lashley comes out and spoils the championship party. He does a little cheap heat by saying, you know, we should build a wall, so whatever. You know, he does cheap wall heats, anything like whatever. But besides that, I think Lashley has a good showing as a heel, and I think it's just something that will open the eyes of people who have never seen Lashley be an actual good promo. Because let's be honest, back in the WWE ECW days, Lashley was not that great of a promo.
Very true. All right, well, my match pick of the week, I guess this is a TNA closing show. My match pick of the week, this match happened 10 years ago today at TNA Turning Point. Beer, money. They defended TNA Tag Team Championships against the Motor City Machine Guns of Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin. The Motor City Machine Guns and Beer Money, I always enjoyed their work together. They had a best of 5 tag series, and I think 2010, 2011 that I thought that was the best tag wrestling I'd ever seen at that point. You know, it was great. It was high flying. It was fast paced. It was hard hitting. Then Rude and Storm, they could slow it down. Storm with that last call super kick and hit it out of nowhere. Shelley's running full speed at Rude. Rude hitting that amazing double R spine buster. It was a great great stuff. A nice chemistry between these teams.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. Well, you can follow all of that. You can follow us on Twitter at BulletCast, YouTube channel The BulletCast, Instagram The BulletCast, Facebook BulletCast. You can email us BulletCast2 in the number 2 sweet SWEET at gmail.com. We're on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, TuneIn, Google Play. We're all over the damn place. 99.9 KW in Watsonville. Thank you for all the people listening to us out there. And Brandon, I guess I'll see you next week.
Maybe Mitchell will decide to show up.
Yeah.
You know, he wins the championship, and now he just thinks he can be a part-timer like Brock Lesnar. Just show up when he wants to.
I mean, you see, this is why I should just, you know, be the whole part of the champion, you know, but it's a topic for another time. Brandon, any closing words?
No. A lot of wrestling happened within the last week, and it's nice to kind of detox and kind of, take a breath, because next week's the Superstar Shakeup and a lot more stuff's going to be going down.
All right. Well, this has been the Bulletcast. I'll see you later, buddy.
Toodles.
This has been the Bulletcast. Thank you for listening.